Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Story and I welcome you to Guardian Hot Seat, a series we have here at Planet Destiny that entails having a community member over for an interview. Now in this week's show we have xHOUNDISHx, a prolific Destiny videosmith that we can always rely on to keep us up to date and informed on all the various goings on in the Destiny universe, as well as some handy tips and some extremely crispy gameplays. Now, while xHOUNDISHx sits down and makes himself comfortable, it's about time I take aim to fire with the first cue. Who are you and what do you do?
My name is Tom. Most people will know me as xHOUNDISHx. First and foremost, I'm a Destiny player, obviously. I'm a bit of a Titan fanboy, and I'm probably a generalist when it comes to Destiny. I really enjoyed all of the aspects of the game, but on top of that, I've been pretty fortunate in growing a community on YouTube as well, and that's kind of covering all aspects of the game too. And being able to spend time talking about Destiny and having the joint learning experience with the community is pretty invaluable to me, so I feel pretty blessed in that respect.
You're incredibly hardworking as well, dude. There's a saying that goes around amongst a lot of the content creators that no one's as fast as xHOUNDISHx.
Obviously, I played a lot of Crucible in the beta, a lot of the PvE stuff, and the gameplay is just fantastic. So it was I'm not entirely sure what I'm getting into, but I have to play this game. And that was it. It just spiraled from there.
It's like a drug, isn't it?
It
was like, what is this? I don't understand what's occurring in terms of story, but I really like it and I want more of it.
Absolutely, man.
Okay, all-time favourite subclass and loadout and why?
I would have to say Striker Titan. And this goes all the way back to the beta. There's just something about it. I like the aggressive play. I love the abilities. And it's kind of I guess it embodies me, my idea of what Destiny is as a shooter game, and Titan is really it's the thing that grabbed me the most, and still to this day it's kind of that's where I want to be in the end game. If I could only have one character, or even if I had to say now, this is the only character I can play in Destiny for as long as it exists, I would have to pick the Titan.
Yeah, you gotta have a favourite.
That's it, man. Okay.
Favourite Destiny memory?
This is really difficult because one of the awesome things about Destiny is that it actually has history now, we've been through all these raids, these events and these kind of experiences, and each of them really stand out in my mind. The more memorable ones are probably Kingsfall and Wrath of the Machine, because they were things that I could day one, by this point in the game I had a clan, I had a good team to run that stuff with, so day oneing either Kingsfall or Wrath of the Machine pretty much stand out fairly equally. It's really hard to pinpoint any single thing in Destiny for me.
Do you have a favourite Crucible game mode?
I'd probably still have to say Control, man, honestly. It was the classic 6v6 mode all the way back in the day. There's still something about it, and even just hearing Shax's voice, control the zones, If I'm good at anything, that's it right there. So yeah, 6v6 modes, but Control in particular, I really enjoy.
Okay, when you launch a Crucible game, is there anything that you set out to do initially or achieve?
Not always. Sometimes, I'll think to myself, I'm not playing so good, or this is a weakness that I can see in the way I'm playing, and I'll go in and try and think about it and try and improve it. A lot of the time, I watch other people play, I watch Cool Guy, I watch True Vanguard. I watch a lot of guys play, and that really makes me want to play. I'll be sitting watching YouTube, and I'm like, right, I got to start Destiny up. So sometimes I go in kind of, thinking about improving one thing or another, but a lot of the time it's fun, that's kind of, and it's become an increasingly important thing. A lot of Destiny PvP players are so focused and, want to be good players. This is why we get, what people call a sweaty game or whatever. So yeah, sometimes I try and do that, but I have definitely kind of veered towards, you always want to be having fun inside of the game, and variety in the game is something I've really enjoyed, especially over the last year, just using as many different types of weapon and things like that I can, and getting good gameplay of it as well. I really enjoy recording gameplay and obviously the content production side, so that does factor into what I'm doing in the Crucible and things like that. But yeah, number one is fun, man. I like to use different things, have that variety, and if I can get better, and if I need to get trashed in the Crucible to get better, then that's all good, man.
Alrighty, what are your thoughts on the recent sandbox changes?
I feel like it's in a pretty good place overall. The primary game feels really good. There is that variety there, so that's my biggest favorite thing about the balance patch. Obviously, there were some subclass things, the health regeneration changes. I think a lot of those were actually mistakes or things that they didn't anticipate were going to happen. But I think some of that stuff needs fine-tuning again. Hunters in particular have been a little bit frustrated recently. But outside of that, like, they're kind of smaller issues to me. They feel like smaller issues. The special ammo economy right now, I think, is in a really good spot on the whole in like 6v6 game modes. Sidearms are super prevalent, but inside of like elimination modes, we're seeing a ton of sidearms and a ton of things that regenerate ammo, which I don't necessarily mind. The thing I'm not so sure about in the long term is perhaps the way that might crush variety in the game.
Yeah.
You know, like, I'm put off using fusion rifles in, say, Trials of Osiris, just because it gives me a disadvantage, you know, in certain engagements, purely because of the weapon I've equipped. So that's kind of my biggest problem. It's not even so much that sidearms are OP or that they have too much ammo, although that is going to change. It's definitely variety. Variety is something I really enjoy in the game, and variety has been hit pretty hard, especially in elimination.
Have you rediscovered any weapons or stumbled across an interesting set of perks since this update?
You know, I'm really enjoying my Hopscotch Pilgrim right now. I don't have a good Parthian shot or any of these high-impact pulse rifles, so I need to work on that. You can use, like, Plan C, you can enjoy fusion rifles and snipers. I actually think the ammo economy in general right there works really well. You know, you can pick up special ammo, you can kind of preserve it in your playstyle, but you can't just run rampant.
Alrighty, if you could buff one weapon of your choice and nerf a weapon of your choice, which would they be? Okay,
I'd probably buff Red Death. I loved Red Death in year one. It was such a solid pulse rifle. That archetype just destroyed. You could occasionally two burst with Red Death in year one as well.
What are you gonna nerf? What are you gonna hit with a nerf bat?
Okay, this is what I'd nerf. I'd nerf range on sidearms, because, like, so many engagements. I was playing the other day and I hit 3 perfect bursts on a guy with a blind perdition from, I don't know, it was probably like 20 feet away. And in that time, like, we must have hit our shot bang on the same time. And in that time, he melted me with a wormwood from that same distance. So I would say that, like, sidearms aren't OP, but the range, perhaps, if special weapons are going to behave the way that they currently do, the range perhaps is something that could be looked at a little bit on some of them.
Let's talk about people picking up Destiny for the very first time. What's your best advice for newcomers to the game?
I would say get some friends. Make sure you have some friends to play with. You know, whether you want to do PvE stuff and you want to complete the Nightfall, or you perhaps want to get into raids, maybe play some Trials of Osiris with friends. It definitely helps having a couple of people at least to play Destiny with, right? And the other important thing, like, I find with that is the community aspect. Like, Destiny plays best when it's played with friends and other people. You know, there's kind of those moments, it creates those moments in the game where you can interact with the people you're playing with in, like, a really special way. You know, what loot did you get? Or you're kind of sitting in orbit, and those pockets of time naturally become, like, things that you use, like, as a conduit, you know, to communicate with whoever it is that you're talking with, whether they're your best friends or even people you've met off LFG. But yeah, I would absolutely recommend finding some friends. Whatever you do, whatever you want to get into, it will make the experience better.
What are your ultimate hopes and ultimate fears for Destiny the sequel?
Okay, right, Destiny 2, if that's what I should even call it. I feel like they need to improve the story a little bit and kind of, like, tie it together with, like, the cinematic work that they do or they've done, especially in, like, Rise of Iron and The Taken King. That stuff is so much stronger than it was, you know, earlier on. So the story is definitely important, but in terms of gameplay, you know, like, Bungie games feel good to play. So I think they need to, like, preserve Destiny, what makes Destiny feel like Destiny, and it's, like, kind of the thing that a lot of other people are talking about. 60 FPS, you know, the servers, right? Not having, like, P2P connections. All of that kind of stuff is they're definitely the big things that I'd like to change. Because, like, at its heart, at its core, I love Destiny for what it is, you know. Possibly for a biggest fear, and this might, I need to make sure this comes across the right way, is that, like, because obviously the game has competitive potential, right? You know, like, MLG are interested, people play sweats, like, people want that stuff to happen. So, and this kind of, like, this isn't this kind of goes alongside the sandbox as well, you know, how some stuff they can't control differently in PvP and PvE and things like that. The only concern I would have is if they start to null down or balance the game purely around what is competitive or what is considered, you know, to be competitively balanced, because even though Destiny has those imbalances, sometimes with a weapon or whether it's a subclass or an ability, it gives them that bit of character, you know. So that is something that I do like about Destiny. And, you know, once Thorn was OP, but it's a dreadful weapon. It's meant to be dreaded, and it's kind of cool that it did that, like, for a period of time, you know? Even though it grinds our gears, and it does the same to me as well, but at the same time, it gives Destiny some of that character that it has. So that would be one fear that I kind of have. Obviously, balancing and doing that correctly is kind of a complicated thing, but definitely I would like them to be able to control, you know, how weapons behave or certain things perform in PvE and PvP differently. And that could even mean modes where you could, you know, turn certain things off in PvP, which would definitely potentially support some of that competitive play as well. Okay,
what do you like doing in your spare time, your leisure time? Are you enjoying long walks along the beach or something similar?
Nothing, perhaps not quite that interesting. In my leisure time, I still play a lot of games, man. Like, I play a few PC games. I still play some Battlefront and some Battlefield on PC. I'm kind of into my PCs. I'm into technology as well, so I watch a lot of, you know, like tech shows online. That's kind of what I do in my general downtime, because I find, like, I'm putting so much work into, like, content production, as well as I work from home doing other stuff as well. So I'm generally always here, so a lot of the time it's kind of what I can do at home. But yeah, I play quite a few other games. And
I suppose being a full-time Destiny channel as well, you don't get a fat lot of extra spare time, really, do you?
That's it, dude.
Now it's the time for you to tell us where we can find your channel and all the things that you make.
Alright, so you can find me on YouTube at youtube.com/xHOUNDISHx, and you can find me on Twitter at xHOUNDISHx as well, with all the X's, one word. So say hi, feel free to say hi on Twitter. I like talking to people. So
do you do streaming? Do you stream every now and again?
I once dabble in a bit of streaming. Someone actually stole xHOUNDISHx. Hey, I must have some kind of profile. Someone took the name xHOUNDISHx on Twitch before I could. So, yeah, it's Houndish Presents. Twitch.tv/Houndish Presents. All one word.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's have a massive round of applause for our guest here tonight on Guardian Hot Seat, Houndish. Thank you so much for being with us. You absolutely blitzed it, mate.
Awesome, dude. Thanks, I appreciate it, man. It's been very kind of you to invite me over here, man. I appreciate it.
No problem, and if there's a message that you have to anybody, if there's anything that you'd like to say or plug at the moment, here's your chance.
Firebolt, get out of bed. That's about all I have to say.
Alright then, it's goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from him.
Thanks very much for watching, folks. Don't forget to tune into the Planet Destiny podcast on Sunday at 7 p.m. PST. You can find the links to all of Houndish's outlets, YouTube, Twitch, in the description, as well as the Planet Destiny Twitch, should you want to tune into the podcast. Until the next time, folks, see you later.